What is up, guys? My mic is muted, but we are back. We're going. Okay, my mic was muted, but college sports is saved thanks to Donald Trump. Trump is saving college sports with his Roundtable event today. We've got some bets on the mention market. As you can see, we've got a great closing line value of negative $300. I'm pretty yes heavy, and there are reports that this is going to be short. He's going to kick out the press. But I'm hoping not. I'm hoping in the 15 minutes or so that it will be live. Trump will be able to say a lot of things. So, let's pull up the stream just in case it's gone live. All right. Here are all my positions for this mention market. I'll go with the yeses. Yes, Olympic, because the Olympic lady commissioner is there. Yes, Iran. He's going to start all of his stuff, I think, like from now on with an Iran update. I've got Democrat, yes. I bought this because the representative Mike Johnson sitting right next to him. Yes, golf. I originally had this because Tiger Woods was supposed to be there, but it's fallen off a cliff. I got like 60 cents. I still think there's a chance he can mention golf because Nick Saban's there and a lot of old people are there. Oh, let me put the chat on. Okay. Big positions. Hockey, yes. I think hockey, yes, because he could mention the hockey Olympic team he met. The Olympic woman is there, so he can mention, oh, the hockey team was there. And yes, Roll Tide, because Nick Saban's there. He said Roll Tide before. This is a long shot, but we're going yes, Roll Tide. What do you think? Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look how like low-key, I don't know. This might be big. We'll see.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yes, gas.
A very important meeting.
Yes, oil.
We had a lot of important meetings today.
Okay.
But this is a big one because this is really the future of, I think, beyond college sports. This is the future of colleges.
Colleges.
Because we're looking at numbers that are coming in and the amount of money being spent and lost by otherwise very successful schools is astounding just in a short period of time. It's only going to get worse. So we have to save college sports and
Trump's saving college sports.
Colleges. We have to save our Olympic team because some
Olympic!
of the sports that are
yes.
in the Olympics will no
immediately.
Longer be
immediately the Olympic win.
Represented by people that went through college and became competitive, became great at the sport. We won't be anywhere near what we were. I think it's just a very, very important meeting. We have the most important
Man,
people
NIL
in college sports and really beyond.
Marco Rubio is sitting right next to him. That's pretty good for
Cuba. What I'd like to do is I'll say a few words. I'm going to ask Marco and a few to also say a few words. And I'd like to take your suggestions. And we have the speaker. We have John Thune is here or represented. We have some of the
He's a little sleepy, oh no.
Senators, Congress people.
He's a
people
little
that
sleepy
can make
here.
it get approved. Yeah, because we have to go through, I do an executive order. I'd love to do that.
Executive order?
I'll probably do it anyway. We'll do an executive order. We'll see how it works because it would be I have a really nice, simple idea. But we'll go through this process and I think we'll get it through Congress. We have a good chance. I think it'll be very bipartisan. And
Frick,
I
that's
just
bad
want
for
to thank
Democrat
you all
there,
for
huh?
being here as we stand up for one of America's greatest and most beloved institutions. It's called college athletics, which is true, means so much. I want to thank Secretaries Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, Doug Burgum, Howard Lutnick, Linda McMahon for being here, and also Speaker of the House Mike Johnson.
He's pretty
doing
deflated.
a great job.
Uh-oh.
Governor
It's
Ron
not good for
DeSantis,
yeses, man, at all.
Senators Ted Cruz, Eric Schmidt,
He's just reading it off.
Steve Scalise, Representatives Lisa McClain, Jim Jordan, Brett Guthrie, and Lori Trahan. Thank you all for being here. We have some great people. Condoleezza, thank you very much. I see you over there. Great to have you. Great to be with you. A very special welcome to New York Yankees president Randy Levine, friend of mine for a long time.
New York Yankees.
I used to sit with George Steinbrenner in the box. It was one of the most difficult
Okay,
days
we're going
of
to need
my
a Nick
life.
Saban shout out here for Roll
I would
Tide.
always be. He liked me, I liked him. But we both liked very few other people. And we had a good time. And we won a lot of games, right, Randy?
We never lost.
We never lost, actually. And a great champion of college athletics, former, as I just said, Secretary of State, a woman who's really respected, Condoleezza Rice. Thank you very much again,
Rice.
Condoleezza.
Condoleezza Rice. That was a given.
And Ron DeSantis has been working very hard with us, and wherever you may be, Ron. Hi, Ron. And has some great ideas and some great coaches that gave him some great ideas. We're gathered today to discuss an important threat to the integrity and culture of college sports.
College sports.
The
Okay.
inability to set rules on eligibility, transfers, name, image,
Transfers,
and likeness, and much more than
Name and
that.
likeness. Oh,
In the face of endless lawsuits, and it's what's going on with the legal community.
how
Is
about no
incredible.
NIL off that?
We had a lawsuit a couple of years ago
He might still hit
by
it.
a radical left judge from
Radical left.
California who decided, knowing nothing about football or college sports, that everything was illegal that was taking place. And I don't think it was ever appealed. Nobody can find out if it was appealed or not.
Huh.
But you can win an appeal. I think I win more cases on appeal than I do in front of some judges that are
Appeal?
not very good. But it was a horrible, incredible ruling. And it threw the sports world and the college athletic world into tithers. And
he gonna dodge NIL
that's
here?
where we are right now. It's crazy
Maybe.
things are happening. Young people are being signed, 17-year-old quarterbacks, for $12 million, $13 million, $14 million.
Okay. No scholarship here.
We have a 7-year freshman.
Freshman.
You know, we have people, we're seeing things that we've never seen before. We have college players that don't want to go to the NFL because they're making more
NFL.
money in college, right, Jim Jordan? And a lot of really bad things are happening.
Okay.
The
NFL.
basic questions like who is eligible to play are now virtually unregulated and decided randomly by judges rather than by reasonable, agreed-upon rules that could be very
trying to get
simple
the chat
and
to work. I don't know why
very
it's-
simply drawn.
Oh.
So this has grown into a major challenge. We actually have some of the best sports agents here because I think they'd like to see it solved, but
Okay.
maybe not. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Sports
But they're
agents.
represented. We have everybody represented.
play golf
today,
with,
just about
or-
every group you can think of. But it's grown into a major challenge that threatens the future of college sports and really colleges themselves, because many are going to go down the tubes.
Down the
It was
tubes.
announced at Penn State, their athletic division lost $535 million this last year. Florida State, Ron and I spoke
Florida State?
about it, $440 million loss. It was just announced that Rutgers lost $95 million, and
it
they're
possible
doing
to
all
lose
sorts
trillions?
of things to try and save
I don't think so.
the ship. And I think those numbers are nothing compared to what's going to happen. This is new. This just happened. Those numbers are going to go to levels that nobody's ever seen before. If you had no salary cap in the NFL, you'd see
No salary cap.
staggering losses. We have no salary cap in colleges. Colleges are going to have, unless something's done, unless we solve this problem. And I think probably today, and we're going to ask for ideas.
Ideas?
You know, not that we don't have to take.
He's
we don't
gonna
have to
look at
take
ideas for
months.
Alpha.
We'd like to see if we could do it for next season.
Trump. No.
But we have, and we certainly
don't know
have
what
the
they're talking
brain
about,
power.
Trump.
We have tremendous knowledge, far more knowledge than I have about this subject. But it also poses special dangers for women's sports and
Ooh.
our Olympic pipeline. Women's sports
Don't
are
say
being
transgender
canceled
here.
all over the
Uh-oh.
country, just so we understand. Women's sports are in deep trouble, other than one particular women's team. That's Miami,
hockey?
where I have my granddaughter on the team.
Oh, soccer?
They canceled
What are you
men's
talking about?
golf.
Golf?
Women's golf is doing just
Yes!
fine. I'm only kidding.
Okay.
I'm only kidding.
Come on, Kai Trump with the
But
golf
they are
hit.
canceling golf. They're canceling wrestling. They're canceling fencing. They're
Hockey.
canceling Even basketball, I thought that would be maybe immune, but it's in
Come
trouble.
on.
And it's all going to football, but
I was hoping hockey's on that list, man.
The worst laggard of all. It's not going to be affordable.
Affordable!
And it's going to take down practically every college. In my opinion,
Wow.
it's going to take down virtually every college, or every college that wants to be. They think they want to be competitive.
And we hit on
Under
golf,
the
though.
current
That's a good
system,
hit.
educational institutions find themselves in a financial arms race for athletes in sports like football and basketball, and both. I mean, both of them. But basketball is being hurt very badly. It's really
Can we get hockey here?
it's being dominated by
Is it
football.
possible?
Last July, I signed an executive order to stop destructive pay-for-play
Uh-oh.
schemes that are all over the place and keep college athletics rooted in the traditions that made it great. I
Is
thought we had
transgender
a
here
great system,
safe?
frankly. I thought we had a system that should have been appealed, and it could have been maybe perfected a little bit. But it took close to 100 years. It was developed over 100 years, and one judge that knew nothing about sports, knew nothing about football, knew nothing about Olympics, knew nothing about
Olympics?
anything, just
Football?
decided everything was unconstitutional. It's crazy. But only Congress now, it looks like, can deliver a permanent fix. So, Speaker, you and John and everybody else,
Democrat?
including Democrats that are
Yes!
represented very strongly, we
Okay.
can hopefully get it done.
Mike Johnson.
Federal legislation
Let's
must
go, Mike
allow
Johnson. He's
college
sitting right there.
athletic programs to set common sense rules, simple common sense rules, without endless litigation, and establish a fair
Keep transgenders out your mouth,
image
bro.
like this
Please.
standard that eliminates the patchwork of conflicting state laws.
Okay.
That's the other problem. All of these colleges, they're all in different states, and all the laws are different. So you got laws that are totally different. Some one way, some an entirely different way.
Scholarship?
While
Possible?
allowing the full spectrum of college athletic programs to thrive. It should thrive. If Congress does not take action fast, it could destroy college sports and destroy the colleges that play these sports. They'll be destroyed. They'll be going bankrupt. Everyone, so many of them.
So many.
No other nation in the world has built a system that develops champions in classrooms and on the field,
Okay.
producing Olympic heroes, professional legends, and the leaders of tomorrow all at once. I thought the system of scholarships was great.
Dang.
What do I know?
He hit
But
it.
I thought it was great.
And
And just
it wasn't
one of
even
those
scripted. He brought it up
things I was
himself.
with
Dang. Scholarship.
Nick Saban
Nick Saban,
the
come
other
on.
day, and
Roll Tide.
you know his timing is exquisite. He played and he won and won and won. And when he saw this thing, he said, "I'm gonna get out of. I'm not doing this anymore." He's around here someplace. Where's Nick? Where are you,
Nick
Nick?
Saban, come on. Roll
Right?
Tide.
Now he doesn't admit this. I said, "How come you left? Just he didn't want to go through one season, because there's no better mind at this than that man." And he looked and he said, "What a shame! What a shame!" And he's going to speak about it. And I think you have some very constructive ideas, Nick. I think so. No other nation in the world has built a system like this. It's
He
so
missed
good.
the Roll
and
Tide there with Nick
we've
Saban.
thrown it right out the window. And I'd like to see you go back to something maybe resembling that, and maybe pay for each player. Not such crazy pay, but just pay for each player. With every player, maybe the quarterback and the third string lineman making the same. But you're going to tell us about it. We're going to try and get it passed. Our goal is not to go back to the days where student athletes were never allowed to receive any compensation.
Any
Although,
compensation.
not the worst idea, but I think a lot of people would overrule me on that. But we must pass reforms that protect the cherished American tradition of college athletics for future generations. So
Okay.
I look forward to hearing from a lot of you. And I think a few of you are going to say a few words, and then we'll get to some ideas. And I don't know, maybe by the end of a long session, if we
Long
need it, I'm
session.
here as long as you need me. They came to me, they said, "You're the only one that can do it." I said,
Long
"Oh, thank
session?
you very much." I said, "Really, because I'm president."
Is it possible?
Okay, to be honest. But we have certain abilities, so we'll see if we can get it done. So I'll ask in this order. Marco, you'll say a few words, and then Speaker Johnson, Randy Levine, Nick Saban,
Nick Saban.
Charlie Baker, the
Roll Tide.
governor, Ron DeSantis, and Greg Sankey, Sarah Hirschland, and Pete Bavacqua. and they'll go pretty quickly, and then we'll hear from some of the people, and we may have something come up that's somewhat of a miracle.
Miracle?
There's an idea out there, and somehow it's going to have to be arrived at.
What are we talking about?
Because there's no way the system will allow colleges to, in my opinion, will allow schools to live financially. It's not going to happen. So if I could, I'll ask Marco, you can start, and then Speaker, and then we'll go through the list, and then we'll take some ideas or questions. All right? Thank you very much, Marco.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr. President.
he might
And
still-
I'll be
he
very
might
brief.
still
The
talk
first is,
about
I think
hockey.
You've already touched on, and that is what a
Because the Hockey Hall of Famer. I don't know if he'll get to speak, though, and Trump will call on him.
Something like what we have, and it's
I
not
don't
just
know.
unique; it's really important. A lot of people
Hockey's
don't
still
see
kinda
some of
holding
the
up, though, at
aspects of
20
it that are
cents.
So positive. The first is the student-athlete experience. There are literally thousands and thousands of young Americans
we're a
who
little
are going
cooked here,
through
though,
this
still. We
year
still-
with not just degrees, but
Hockey
advanced
would
degrees,
feed
and athletics made
generations,
that
but
possible.
I don't
And the
know.
athletic support
We
and
missed
the
on
academic
gas,
support that they're receiving
yes,
from these schools
Cuba,
is
yes.
extraordinary. So there are kids that literally
Iran,
would not have gone
yes.
to college
I
and
mean,
would
you
not
could still say
considered it,
Iran, I
certainly
guess.
not the advanced degrees without the help that this provides. Also, the development of the individual that student athletics provides. I mean, look, if you can show up at 6 a.m. in the morning every day for a lift, you're learning one of the most important lessons in life. 95% of life is showing up where you're supposed to be on time. These are extraordinary lessons that people are gaining. Two more things that people don't think about: unity. Few things in America unify us anymore, and one of the things that does is college athletics. In particular, I can
Cuba
just, the
mentioned
experience
here?
of a Saturday, and
Hello,
I was
Cuba.
about to say a Saturday in the
Marco
South, but I don't
Rubio.
want to discriminate against the other conferences. I'm sure it's true there too, where communities get together, people they don't agree on anything else except that they want that home team on the field to win. And it's one of the few unifying experiences we have as a country, and it's so critical. And the last you touched on as well, Mr. President, this is the feeder program for our Olympic teams. Without it, there is no feeder program. Other countries have structured it differently, but the way we have it in our country is so unique in that way. We all know the challenges, and what this system now needs is a system of rules and regulations, of guardrails, so that everyone is operating under the same rules.
guys think
And it's
I think
difficult
hockey's
to do
still
because
in
it's
play?
moving very fast, but you've got the right people in the room,
I don't
there,
know.
Mr. President.
Or
and the
he
right
calls
leadership.
on
So
the
thank you for
Olympic
caring
lady
about this,
and talks about the
because
hockey
it truly
team,
is important for
but-
the country and for millions of Americans who are fans, and thousands of families who have student athletes in their family
Still
who have
holding.
experienced the system or are going
Our
through
CLV is
it
a bit
now. Thank you.
cooked. We're
And
down
Marco
100.
has a conflict of
Oh.
interest that he didn't
on.
reveal, which is a very
on.
serious charge. Could be a criminal charge, actually, because his
Cuba?
son is a very good player for a very good college and makes money with NIL. So there's
NIL.
a serious conflict of interest.
Oh, wow.
But we'll take him. We waive his conflict. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be here with so many of the all-time
Dodged
greats.
Cuba
It's a treat
there.
for us, members of Congress. There's many of them around the table, and they're happy to be working on the issue with you and for you. I would say, people often say that Speaker of the House is the most stressful job in the world, but then I think of SEC football coaches because they got to win every Saturday night. And my friends who are in those positions, I have a lot of sympathy for. I want to commend President Trump for his extraordinary leadership, and he leads on this important and complex issue as he does all
Roll
others.
Tide.
He sees a problem. He wants us to
Yeah, a
solve
little
it,
roll
and he
tide
assembles
when
the
Nick
right
Saban
people
gets to
to
speak,
get
man,
that
that'd be
done. And
so
I think
sick.
he really is the only figure on the planet who could do that. So I thank you for that, Mr. President, getting everybody together. One more issue that we'll tackle. I'm a double alum from LSU, undergrad and law school, so I bleed purple and gold, and we talk a lot about college athletics down where I'm from. It's a big thing, but the whole country cares deeply about it because it's part of Americana, as Marco was saying. It's part of who we are as a country, and it's so important, and we have to navigate through these unprecedented waters together. I'm glad there's some really smart people who are working on that. Mr. President, Congress does need
Roll
to act
Tide?
quickly,
Come on, Roll Tide's still
because it's
possible.
getting out of hand, and I think everybody here recognizes that. I want you to know the House has been working
Yeah, we
very
got golf. We
deliberately,
got golf.
and I think very effectively
pretty
on this.
good.
We've done a lot of good
the
work,
Kai
and many
Trump
of you are familiar with the SCORE Act. We passed a
relation.
important
SCORE Act.
procedural hurdle in December. We're right on the
Here we
verge
are.
of passage in the House, and we now think we have the votes to do that. But that's
Look
why
at
this
Trump, man.
meeting is so timely, because we want to have the conversation today and in the days that follow, because we want to make sure that we get it right.
I don't know.
It's a bipartisan product.
I'm a
It
bit-
has broad
I'm a
support
bit
in the House.
surprised
We
he
believe we'll
didn't
have
come
every
out and talk about
Republican
Iran.
now. And we have a double-digit support of at least Democrats. It is bipartisan. A lot of good work's gone into that to get it there, and we think it may be the vehicle to get us to the next phase of this and this essential conversation. But the next step is preparing that legislation for final passage. So I was talking with Randy and many of you who are leading on this. This is a very important and timely conversation that we'll have today, and I said in the days that follow.
Need him to call on the
We're
Hockey
encouraged to see
Hall
all
of
of you,
Famer.
the experts who
Really?
know this issue better than anybody in the country, willing to put your time and effort into it and provide feedback,
holding.
because we want the final product to be the best it can be. We want to accomplish the necessary ends, and we think we're very close. Everybody here wants to see this American institution succeed, and we have that opportunity within our grasp. And we want to make sure that the solution we develop actually
You
works
think a trade
for
on no
student
kickoff?
athletes
Yeah, I don't know.
who are at the heart of this.
Could still
And
hit,
that's what we
too,
care about so
when
much.
he's
We know
the
that the foundation of any
football
good
people
deal
start
begins
to
with getting the
talk.
right people
You can
in
make a
the
joke
right
about
room.
kickoff.
And this is the right room, and this is historic. And no one knows better than the man who literally wrote the book on it, and that's President Trump. And so I want to thank you for assembling us, Mr. President, and we look forward to the discussion. I yield back.
Thank you, Mike.
Playoff? I don't know. Trump doesn't really ever say playoff.
Thank you, Mr. President, for putting this group together. Leading up to this, wherever I would go, because I had an interest in this, both professionally, what the Yankees have done, and my experience
There's
on the
baseball.
board of directors of various
You mean at Cuba here?
colleges, everybody would say over and over again, this thing is failing bad, and it's like a hamster on a wheel. It kept spinning on the wheel but never getting off. It was never done. And they told me, please talk to the president, because he's the only person who will convene a group like this in order to reach a consensus to get it done. And he agreed to do it. But he said to me, if I'm going to do it, it has to be bipartisan. And he asked
Bipartisan.
me and the speaker
He's
and
already a Democrat.
everybody else to make sure.
Trump's like, I'm not
It is
interested in
bipartisan.
bipartisan.
And it is. We have people
Bipartisan.
from both parties here, and that's what has to happen. So we put this group together. Why did we put this group together? Because it's representative
What is he looking at?
of the people who know the best on how to solve this
Nothing?
issue.
He's bored.
We have college
He
presidents.
is bored. He's
who've
probably
been
thinking
living
about Iran right
with
now.
this from all over the
Oh.
country.
He's back.
We have some of the finest athletic directors who have been pioneers in this area. We have professional sports executives. Why do we have them in the room? The answer is, as Commissioner Silva would tell you, or Hall of Famer Lou Lamoriello, these issues have been in professional
This
sport
is not too crazy for him.
for a long
I don't
time.
think it's that
We have a
random.
lot of experience. I negotiated the first revenue sharing agreement, caps, revenue sharing, distribution, all of those things, what we live with
Speed up. Get to live.
every single day. So maybe we can share our experience and transport it here, as long as it's in the context of
Transgender,
college
bro?
sports. There's one group that is
Nah.
missing, but they won't be
Transgender's not
missing
smacking,
from the
come
final
on.
product, and that's the student athletes themselves. This group, as we move on,
He's
you
definitely
can be
just thinking
assured
about
we'll be
Iran.
talking to the student athletes and all their representatives to make sure their voices is clearly heard.
It's a bigger issue, though.
You know, time is
I
of
mean,
the
it's not
essence.
out of the blue, I guess.
People have told me they've been to Congress 15, 16,
Q&A
17
is definitely
times.
possible,
One
but I don't
group
think in
goes
this
the other group
situation, this
goes in,
roundtable,
and nothing
it
seems to
hits.
get done.
Not
Time
this
is
type
of
of
the essence.
roundtable.
Besides the
no Q&A.
numbers the president talked about, I heard a story from one of the
What's
great
Hormuz at?
professional athletes
If you
on the
think a
Yankees, one
Q&A
of our great players
happening,
yesterday.
Hormuz is decent.
And he went to a
I don't
great
think Q&A is
university, and
happening.
he said to me,
Not in this type of situation.
thank you for doing
context.
this, because every day I got asked for more money for NILs, every single day. And what happened is I gave money for an NIL for a quarterback who left the next year. Meanwhile, a friend of mine, daughter is on the rowing team, and she lost her scholarship, and she's an Olympic hopeful, and now she has to pay her own way.
Dang.
That-
I was really
that's
hoping
just
she's
not
on the
right.
hockey team. That
It's
would have
really
been
not
helpful.
right, and it has to be.
Rowing?
So,
Come
Mr.
on.
President, thank you for bringing this group together. I think they're really, just for discussion, we'll hear from everybody.
I hope he says
I
roll
think they're
tide.
really two
I hope
things
so
to
too,
add
brother.
on to what the speaker
We
said.
call him golf. It's the only thing
that
that's
have to be
hit so
done.
far for me today.
One, there has to be an antitrust exemption, because
We got on
everyone in
golf
the
at
room
least.
has
We
to
got
be
some.
able to talk to
we
each
got hit.
other, all the conferences, the schools, the presidents, everybody, without getting sued. That includes the kids. They have to be involved in these negotiations, the student athletes. And
Roll Tide?
there has to be
Five-
an entity
5 cents. He
that's
still has to
set
call
up
on Nick
by the
Saban to
people
speak.
who are going to
Come
administer
on.
this,
Roll
run
Tide's
this,
still in
that
play.
are empowered by the
You can call me
legislation
delusional.
to handle all the issues the president spoke about. And we're all here to support that, to help that. And to make sure that it's just not business as usual. Just an idea I have is maybe that antitrust exemption lasts for 2 years to make sure that these rules and everything are really being enforced. And if they're not, we go back to square one. It'll give the Congress oversight, give the President oversight, but it's time to move. And Mr. President, I couldn't agree with you more. Thanks to your leadership, we got to move this really, really fast.
Finally,
We have
let him talk.
ESPN and Fox here. They're
Come on, Randy. We don't give a shit.
probably the biggest payers in this entire thing, and the fact that they're here and their voice is heard is great. So, Mr. President, only you could pull this off, and we're grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Randy. And Nick Saban, please.
Nick Saban.
Thank you, Mr. President, for
Get him
the
to say
chance and the opportunity
roll
to be
tide,
here
Nick.
to speak with you
Come
today.
on.
But I just want everybody to know that I'm just a football coach. I spent my life when we had the ball trying to get a first down, when they had the ball trying to get off the field on third down. So this is an unlikely position for me to be in to speak to such a distinguished group of people. Thank you. But I come here
Come on.
today with a question. What are the guiding principles for the future of college athletics? All athletics. I'm talking about football, basketball, Olympic sports, revenue, non-revenue, it
Hockey?
doesn't matter. You know, my goal as a coach for my players, for our players, was to help them be more successful in life, that we
Roll
would
Tide.
create an atmosphere and environment that would help them through personal development, academic support, 668 degrees and 17 years at Alabama, and help them develop a career as a football player. That was our goal, so that they were creating value in life and we were preparing them for their future past athletics.
All right, Nick.
So what happened?
Alabama
You know, in
Jones.
this current system that we have, that became impossible to do because people, instead of making decisions about creating value for their future, they were making decisions about how much money could they make at whichever school they could go to or transfer to. So I think we have a challenge here today about
We
the
have a challenge here
ramifications
today. I
of
mean,
this
they're not
current
even
system
started yet.
on how it helps players be successful in their future and how we can impact and create a system that will help and preserve the opportunity for student athletes to be able to have success in their future beyond athletics. So we need to develop an effective system
What's
of
hockey?
revenue sharing, authentic
20 cents?
name, image, and likeness, authentic being you have marketing value, which now we have
Hockey still might be in play.
collectives,
We'll
which
see
just
on Roll
create
Tide.
opportunities, which just become pay for play. Eligibility issues where we have guys playing
Gonna be
6,
right
7,
here.
and 8 years.
If
So
we
you
got
have
Roll Tide,
25 and
little Roll
26-year-old
Tide.
people playing against 18
Thank
and
you, Nick.
19-year-olds, which is not healthy.
Greatest football coach
Transfer
of all
rules,
time.
we
Roll
have
Tide.
over
Nick
4,000
Saban.
people in the portal. Fans
I wonder if
don't
he's gonna
like
say
it,
golf
support
again,
groups
too.
don't like it.
Right here.
It's not really healthy for
He's his
players
golfing
in
buddy.
graduation to transfer several times in your career. You really put yourself in a pickle in terms of your ability to graduate. So
Graduate.
I think we need to come up with a system, and we obviously have to do it with the president's leadership and also with Congress probably, whether it's antitrust legislation or whatever it is, to allow student athletes in all sports, including women's and Olympic sports, to enhance their quality of life while going to college, but still provide opportunity to advance themselves beyond their athletic career, which is what the philosophy of college athletics and getting a college education
It's the
has
Roll
always been
Tide
about.
philosophy.
And how much does anybody talk about getting an education anymore? Nobody talks about it at all, which is the most important thing any of these
About
student
transgender,
athletes
yes.
can do
I've
in
got
terms
trans,
of enhancing
no.
their
I
future.
don't think he's gonna say it.
So thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much, Nick. Charlie Baker.
Ah!
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I especially want to thank
No
you for
Roll Tide.
putting me in the lineup after the most legendary college football coach of all time.
Roll Tide.
And I really want to thank
Roll Tide?
you for your interest in this issue and your commitment to it. And I also want
It's
to
over.
thank
I think
you
that dream's over, boys.
for the work that
the
your
Roll
administration
Tide
has
dream
done.
is over.
Is working with our team and with many members of the folks who are in
When
this room
Lisa
today.
McClain starts talking transgender,
You know, today there are more kids playing college sports than at any time in
What's
our
Lisa
nation's
there
history.
for?
There's 556,000 student athletes across all three divisions playing on behalf of 1,100 schools. And those 1,100 schools are second only to the United States of America in terms of
Lisa
the amount of
McClain
financial assistance they make
is there
available to
for-
those student athletes. It's over $4 billion. That's also the biggest number we've ever
Lisa McClain?
invested as a community in the student athletes who attend our schools.
Oh, chairwoman? Republican chairwoman?
There is a lot that is right with college sports, and anybody who watched the women's Olympic championship game between Canada and the United States
Please, Trump,
would know
please,
that,
Trump.
among other things,
Please, Trump.
all of the players on both of those teams
Please.
were former college student athletes.
Please,
All 46
they
of them
are. That
from
is such
both
a great
teams have played in
point.
that championship final.
That's such a great point.
Women's sports has grown dramatically. The visibility of women's sports, the viewership of women's sports, the attendance at women's sports, the investments in women's sports have all gone dramatically up over the course of the past 10 years or so. And if you talk to almost anybody
All right.
who follows youth
Trump, we're
sports,
gonna need
they'll
a
tell you
hockey
that the
comment.
growth in
A
youth
comment
sports
on the
the
men's team,
side,
women's team.
continues to be profound.
You're inviting the women's team here
But that
to the White House or
said,
something?
Everything everybody has said about the challenges we face at this particular point in time is true. And I want to give a special thanks to Speaker Johnson and to Leader Scalise for the work that they've done, to use
didn't
a
even get a
sports
Trump
analogy,
face
carrying the
cam
ball
on that hockey
behalf
mention.
of the SCORE
We
Act
don't know.
in the House chamber over the course of
We don't
this
know if he
year.
was sleeping or
It deals
not.
with the rules issue, it deals with the agents issue, it deals with some of the financial issues, it deals with the equity question, it deals with a wide variety of the issues that are challenging for so many in the college sports space these days. And the final thing I'll just say, we have, I talk to a
Hockey's
lot
still
of
in play.
people
It's got to still be in
who
play.
are connected in one way or another to college sports.
Hopefully
both
the
in this
Olympic
country
woman gets
and
to
around
talk.
the world, because they have
Please.
children who attend college here in the U.S. And over and over and over again, the thing I constantly hear is there's nothing like college sports anywhere
Right here.
else in the world. And you are so lucky to live in a country where you have a system that works for young people the way this one works for young people here. So I'm deeply grateful for your commitment to this issue.
I do have Iran, yes,
Thrilled by the
but
folks you've managed
that was
to
for
put
the
around
beginning.
this
He
table.
talked
I
about
agree
it
with
without
others who
talking
said
about
there's
it.
probably nobody
So-
else who could do that. And college sports was a great thing for me and my kids and my wife and so many I know a lot of kids who wouldn't have
Probably
graduated from high
W.
school,
Dono.
much less gone to and graduated from college. if it
dude, this
wasn't
guy's
for college
yapping
sports.
too much. You should
It's
have
a
dropped the
truly
hockey
unique
line and then
American joy.
left.
And we should do all we possibly
Now
can
you-
to
now you
ensure
made
its
forget
success
about
for the
it,
next
bro.
generation
You
and
yapped
the
too long.
generations after that. So thank you again for
Come on,
having us
hockey.
all here today.
Thank you, Charlie, and you're doing a great job. Appreciate it. Ron, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. President.
This
for doing
guy
this. I
yapped
mean,
too
you have,
long. You should have just dropped the hockey thing and then stop talking.
energy, and you're not taking the pedal off any of that, and you could be forgiven to say college sports is important, but your plate's full, and you just added it to all the other things that you're doing, and I thank you for that, because
See,
this
Trump
would
likes
not
this
get
guy.
done without your leadership. No
He's
one
bringing
else
some
could get
energy,
this
Ron
group
DeSantis.
together. No one else could work with Congress to be able to do it, and so I appreciate it, because it is important to a lot of people. I mean, we know this is out of whack. We went from a system where you couldn't give a student athlete anything. They could sell your jersey, you get nothing, to now, quarterback throws for 300 yards and they go see the coach. Hey, I need more money. Give me more money from the club. Okay, I'll transfer. Or they get money and I don't want to play in that bowl game. Sorry, I'm just going to sit out. And I think that that's been bad, certainly for college football and college sports. But let's just be clear, and a lot of the speakers have said, and I speak from being in the South, college football is king. It's not even close. University of Florida is the reigning NCAA basketball national champion. The football team, I think they won 4 games. So guess what? Are the fans happy being the NCAA? Not really. They're mad because football didn't do good. And football has been able to generate so much money over the years that it's subsidized a lot of the other programs, a lot of these non-revenue
Ron DeSantis
sports.
going
people have
on
had
and
more
on,
more
man.
opportunities. Well,
Chill
now,
out.
with the collectives and how much it's costing football, the costs are going up dramatically, and it is threatening these other sports. And, look, yes, being able to produce Olympians, being able to do that, I think it's really important. But 99% of Division I athletes are not going to make a living at it. and they're not going to play in the Olympics. And I speak as somebody, you know, I was the baseball
now hoping
captain
he
at
takes
Yale. Like,
questions
if we
for
had
this hockey
NIL
thing,
there,
man.
I probably
I don't think
wasn't
it
going to get
happens,
a
so.
lucrative NIL deal. That's fine. I get it. But you know, what being a college
Long ramble at
athlete
the
teaches
end?
you,
Yeah,
there's a
maybe a
reason why the
closing. I
Naval
don't think
Academy
Q&A we're
at West
getting, though.
Point, you have to be an athlete when you go through there, because it teaches you discipline. It teaches you about hard work. It teaches you about competitiveness. It teaches you how to cope with failure. And so a lot of the people, the students in these sports that may not be as glitzy, but are going to be harmed by
Hockey?
the current trajectory,
Like hockey?
these are going to be future leaders of our country
Hockey's
in a
not really
variety
glitzy.
of different
I could see hockey
endeavors.
people
And so
running our
I'm
country.
thankful that this is going to get done under President
Tide?
Trump's leadership. This is a bipartisan issue. You know, we are so division on all this different stuff. There is no partisanship about this. We all want our universities and the athletics to succeed. A lot of the speakers have talked about the issues of eligibility. I mean, how do you have there till you're like 25, 18 to 25, and you're still playing? How do you play in the NBA G League and then come back and play in college? How do you get to transfer all these different things? We know those need to be addressed. And obviously, the compensation with NIL. I signed one of the first NIL bills. But that was like, if they're making money off you, you get. Now they're doing like perpetual negotiations, even more than pro athletes can do. So I'm confident this is the group to do it. This is the president to do it. And there's going to be a lot
right
of
now we're
people
down
in our
150.
country
We're
that are
gonna
going to
be
be
a little Trump
happy
gap
when this
or
problem
something.
is fixed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ron, very much. Very much. Greg?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for convening this group. And I also think it's important to point out, you've been to Tuscaloosa a few times for great football games, a couple national championships, and I think the power of
Where's
your
playoff?
presence around college sports is an important factor in this conversation. I had a knock on the door of my residence hall in 1983 by my baseball coach. I was a bad catcher at Laterno College. That's why I'm here today, because he taught me some
Howard
lessons
Lutnick staring in
that
his
had I
eyes.
not been in that situation, I never would have learned. I've spent 2 of the last 3 weeks with our student athlete leadership councils.
I'm not sure, Lee.
And I asked them,
I'm hoping she
what
gets
would
called on
you
the speech.
say
She's there.
in a
for
room
sure.
like this that people need to hear, and that there were 2 things that they wanted me to communicate. One is, when I line up at kickoff, at tip-off, or I put my cleats in the starting blocks at a track and field meet, I want to know the other people in other uniforms from other teams and other states and other campuses are held to the same standards and the same rules to which I am being held. They also want to know that they're being supported from a physical and a mental well-being standpoint. Part of that is their concerns about sports gambling and the pressures that are emerging upon them. I think the themes that have been communicated here, rather than go through my notes, are worth restating. This is a bipartisan, I would argue a nonpartisan issue. This is a
Nonpartisan
circumstance
issue.
where among the 4 conferences, the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and SEC, over $2.3 billion was spent in FY24 to support Olympic sports. And in Paris, 219 U.S. medalists went through the college sports system, 89 of those being gold medalists. In college sports, we move young people from adolescence to adulthood through education, through becoming part of a community, which they otherwise would have not experienced, and the opportunity to build a legacy.
Come on. Come
In the
on.
current environment, each of those elements is interrupted. Transferring 4 or 5 of a
Dude,
basketball
this would
player
be
in my
so
league
long,
out of
dude.
6
Trump's not going to get
campuses
to speak again. I think
does
it might
not
be an L.
provide
Like, bro,
educational
it's a
achievement
slow L.
opportunities like we should demand. Being part of a community when you transfer that much doesn't happen, and building a legacy is overrun by the next name, image, and likeness opportunity. I appreciate what's been done in the House and the SCORE Act. Speaker Johnson, I once lived in Natchitoches, Louisiana, a place you represent. Leader Scalise, your work, I know Congressman Roy has been part of those conversations and others in this room, and it is bipartisan, but we need to bring more people in, and we have work to accomplish in the Senate. We cannot go on longer in this circumstance. And
Yes,
this is not
please
about
don't go
revenue.
on
This
longer,
is about
man.
structures
Holy
and
shit.
national standards for eligibility, for transfers, for medical care and mental wellness care, for
gonna be
transparency and accountability around name, image, and likeness activity. We'll fracture more if we fail to act. That's why the appreciation, Mr. President,
don't
for the
think Trump's gonna
gathering
get to
is most
speak again.
sincere.
It might
Because
be over.
I want to see our women's sports thrive. In the Southeastern Conference, we
Maybe I
currently have
mentioned
10
trans.
national championships. 2/3 of those are in women's sports. We didn't achieve that mountaintop in football this year. We'll keep working on that. We want our Olympians to go through our pools and our track and fields and our volleyball courts. And we want young men who aspire to be in the NBA or the NFL to be educated, to
Please,
mature,
Augie,
and to grow
please. Adam Silver's
as
being
they
at the
seek
top?
that
Maybe?
achievement. We ought to be focused on making college sports great yet again. And I
Oh
look
my
forward
gosh,
to being a
long
part of this
air
conversation
roundtable.
moving forward.
Thank you, Greg, very much. Sarah Hirschland, please.
Okay, Sarah.
Thank you.
we're
Good
gonna need you to
afternoon,
cook here.
everyone. Let me
This is
start
it.
by saying thank you, President Trump,
Possible
and your whole
hockey
administration
mentions.
for your continued support of both Team USA and the Olympic and Paralympic Games. I'm proud to be here today to represent Team USA, and I will say it is no surprise to anyone in this room
Hockey.
that we are the greatest sporting nation in the world.
Talk about the hockey
Team
team.
USA is the most successful
Sarah,
team
please.
in history, with more Olympic medals than any other nation. One of our competitive advantages is the education-based sports system our country has embraced for more than a century. America's colleges and universities built a world-class athletic system that develops
True.
the whole athlete, academically and
Oh.
competitively.
Hockey mogged up.
This system is the envy of the world, as we heard Charlie say.
Charlie.
It has also been the backbone of Team USA for generations. The results speak for themselves. You heard Greg reference some.
Come on,
and
hockey.
I'll just expand.
Yes.
The athletes from
Expand.
just the Paris Games represented
Talk about the hockey
231
team.
different college institutions and 71 conferences. 90 different schools were represented by our medalists from just the Paris Games alone.
Okay.
This success does not happen by accident. It is directly impacted by the broad-based, sustained investment in sport on campus.
I don't know if
You
that
heard
was specific
referenced.
enough, Sarah.
This is not something we can take for granted. To say that our country should be grateful to colleges and universities
Sarah,
and their
please.
athletic programs is an understatement.
Sarah.
And while the United States has topped the gold medal table in 8 of the last 10 summer games, I am
Summer
here
games?
to tell you the margin is
cares?
narrowing.
Who cares?
Around the world, nations are investing aggressively in sport, building centralized training systems, expanding funding, and prioritizing athlete development in new ways. That growing global competition comes at a moment when U.S. colleges must increase their investments in football to stay competitive.
Football?
The economic pressures are unsustainable. We've heard this several times, and we know that Olympic sport budgets inevitably rise to the top as the first to be cut. And in some cases, women's sport, but it's also men's sport, may be eliminated. We must keep our eye on both. We know what happens when those investments are
I don't
reduced
think this
or
was
disappear.
specific enough,
It
man. She didn't
hinders
even
the future
mention the hockey
pipeline of
team
Team
yet.
USA.
Come on.
But frankly, it threatens the future health of sport in our country. We cannot wait for the economic pressure to create this crisis.
Demons won't let her.
We stand here today, Team USA, in solidarity and partnership with the collegiate sports community to
Please.
encourage Congress to pass legislation that stabilizes the foundation of
Trump.
sport on campus
Say hockey for
and
some
ensures
reason.
a healthy and robust ecosystem for student athletes across a wide array of Olympic sports and football, which is kind of coming to the Olympics.
Okay.
Let me conclude by
Interesting.
assuring you that American athletes are ready for this global challenge. In fact,
Hmm?
we welcome it. But the pursuit of excellence deserves a system that continues to invest in them.
Trump's a little
Thank you,
asleep.
Mr. President, and to our congressional leaders, to the college
Now he's paying
administrators,
attention.
and to the many representatives across the sports industry who are here today. We value your commitment to sport, and we welcome your partnership. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And we'll conclude with our little here, everybody that wants to, if you have an idea, if you don't have any ideas, maybe you don't bother, okay? But if you have something good, and maybe what we're talking about with the SCORE Act, it seems to have a lot of support, but we'll talk about that. Pete Bavacqua, please.
Hey, Mr. President,
Fuck,
thank
that
you.
was it,
Thanks for
man.
having
That
us
would've
all
been it.
here, and a special thanks on behalf of Notre Dame.
I
for
mean,
your
I don't
kind
know,
words
unless the
about
fucking-
Coach Holtz.
Unless
know
the
he was
Hockey
a
Hall of
dear
Famer
friend
is
of
about to
yours,
get
so we
called on to
appreciate
speak.
that.
I don't think so.
And this meeting is important. It's timely. I think everybody around this table knows that we need help to straighten
She
this
should have
out.
mentioned it.
We need the help of Congress. In this post-House
Sarah let me
world
down, man.
of
Sarah, you
NIL
should have
and
said the hockey
compensation,
team. You gotta talk about
we're
that.
finding ourselves in a situation where college football, particularly men's basketball, women's basketball,
This is
but
Notre
particularly
Dame.
college football, I don't think it's any secret that people understand that so many of the decisions around college sports are driven almost solely by college football. And college football is certainly important to Notre Dame. We make no secret about that. But it's become a runaway financial train. And if it continues to be that way, even the healthiest of universities are going to have to make incredibly difficult decisions. Decisions that
we're
are
so
going to
down.
impact women's sports and Olympic sports. There's simply no way around that. So we need regulations.
We're so down.
We need
Probably lost like
regulations.
$400.
We need financial transparency, and we need
Stupid.
repercussions. People's feet
Oh
are
my
on fire.
God, man.
And I talked to Coach Saban before we entered into this room, and we were
Roll
talking about
Tide.
the transfer portal. And Greg mentioned it as well. But when you have young men and women going to 3 schools in 3 years, 4 schools in 4 years, the student athlete, and they're student athletes.
Yeah, I know it's
they're
ending.
not just athletes. And we're forgetting
This is
the
an L.
academic part. We're forgetting the student part. And if you're going to 4 schools in 4 years to make a few more $100,000 on each stop, where when you're 21, 20 years old, you think all your financial troubles have gone away, you're going to find at the end of that college experience, you're not going to have an academic degree. That money that you thought you could rely on for the rest of your life is going to be absent by the time you're 23 or 24. And you're going to have the rest of your life, you're going to find yourself in a very
Let this
difficult
bozo speak,
position.
bro.
So we have to talk about financial
Who let this
transparency, and we
bozo
have
speak?
to restate the importance of the student-athlete experience. We can't forget that, because the percentage of people that can go on and play in the NBA, the WNBA, the NFL is extremely low, and it's the importance of that academic
NHL?
degree that you get throughout your student-athlete experience that's going to serve you so well for the rest of your life. And quite frankly, I think if we can agree on regulations with real repercussions, and we go down the road of a free market enterprise where college football continues to be a runaway train financially, I think there's got to be a commitment that if you're going to spend X on college football and Y on men's basketball and Z on women's basketball, you should be required to pay some sort of percentage of that to reinvest into your own Olympic movement within your universities. So I think this meeting, as I said, is important. I think we're coming to a
I don't
point
think this
where we're
meeting
gonna
was
be at
important.
No return
This
if we don't
meeting
get
was
our act
fucking
together and try to
retarded.
speak
You guys
with
haven't
one
even
voice
talked
and
about
solve
a
this.
single
So thanks again, Mr.
like
President.
a like
Thank
solution.
you very much, Pete. So maybe we have to start with a base, because I'd like to say the base should be what we had before, which worked so well for so many years with scholarships. When I heard Charlie say the kind of numbers that was paid in the form mostly of scholarships, that was pretty impressive. But maybe
rubbing it in.
we can't go back. Maybe we have to go forward. And what's happened is sitting here with Jim and some of the people that are talking about the SCORE Act, maybe that should be the base, and maybe we should work off that. But if anybody has any ideas, I'm just
Oh, I
noticing,
got an idea about hockey.
all of the divisions, all of the people that have supported it, including the NCAA, the 31 Division I conferences, 23 Division II, 22 Division III, all HBCU conferences. I mean, a lot of, and a lot more than that. So maybe that can be a base. That's the SCORE Act, which I know it's been, Mike has worked on it long and hard. We have a great guy, Jim Jordan, right here. He was a
Jim
great
Jordan.
athlete. He was virtually undefeated in college wrestling, virtually.
Wrestling.
I don't know.
Shit.
There was probably one bad
Dude,
night, I
get
think.
to the
Jim,
hockey
right?
guy.
But
There's more than one.
he was some great athlete, some great wrestler, and that sport is being, torn apart by what's happening right here.
Well, it sure helped
So,
when you came last year, Mr. President. Sure
yeah.
helped when you were at the NCAA championship last year.
Roll
Right.
Tide.
So if we could go, and
So,
if somebody would have some suggestions. Mike, do you like the idea of using this as a base and we work off the base, or would you like to start from ground zero?
Well, I think I speak on behalf of the legislators around the table that worked really hard on the SCORE Act, and many who have been involved and brought their ideas to the table. Our fear is that if we begin from scratch, I think everyone around the table understands this could take a long, long time. a lot of the debate and discussion and deliberation has gone into this. I got this one-page summary I'm happy to pass around. I assume most people around the table know the basic parameters of the bill and where we are. But the idea would be that if there are, Randy and I were speaking earlier before we went into the Oval Office, there may be some ideas to enhance it or make it better. We want to have the best possible product. I mean, maybe, Mr. President, I think that's a good suggestion. We begin from that. For lack of a better idea, if anyone has a better base that we should begin with, we're open to it. But I'm looking at some of my chairmen of the committees of jurisdiction, and everybody's worked really hard on this. And our majority leaders down at the end of the table, Steve Scalise, has kind of helped quarterback this, pun intended, to get it through the process. And if you have specific questions about specific points or parts of that legislation, we're happy to answer that. But maybe that's part of the discussion. Maybe we could, maybe the question is not a rhetorical one, but a question for all of you. Does anyone have any big concern about what is currently on the table in the SCORE Act, or have ideas on how to improve it?
Would anybody oppose, I mean, most of you have studied the SCORE Act more so than I have. Would anybody feel strongly opposed to starting with the base of the SCORE Act, which has gone through a lot? You would oppose it? Go ahead.
Well, first, I'm Lori Trahan. I represent Massachusetts and appreciate being invited to this today. And I'm really happy to hear you talk about women's sports in particular.
Hockey.
I played Division I volleyball at Georgetown. That's changed my life.
Volleyball.
And so really have spent a lot of time on college sports. And I think I'm the only Democratic legislator in the room. I'm not going to pretend to speak for all of them, but I do think we want to solve college sports as much as everyone here. I think one of the issues that we had with the SCORE Act, I look at this as we've got some revenue issues and governance issues. The SCORE Act, in its codifying the House settlement, really hurts women in Olympic sports. We've already seen a number of programs cut across the country.
Hockey teams.
So I think we do need a revenue mechanism to save and protect. One, strengthening Title IX has to be part of the SCORE Act, as well as ensuring that we are funding those programs. I mean, look, I'm also a mom. I've got a college athlete, son who played lacrosse. I've got another daughter who hopes to.
Oh my God.
Sports is the lifeblood right now. People are they're playing sports at record levels at the youth league. If this is any time we should be expanding opportunities for sports, it's right now. And I think one thing that the SCORE Act represented, it was just a consolidation of what we have today, which is the SEC and the Big Ten. No offense, Greg and Tony, but all the money really is going to those two conferences right now, and we need to address the revenue issue. I know there's been some proposals as far as modernizing the Sports Broadcasting Act. That could be one. I'm open for discussion on that, and then certainly making sure that we have a strong federal standard for NIL. Patchwork of laws does not work. I couldn't imagine signing my letter of intent and having to study up on every single state law and who offers what. But making sure that we have athletes' voices mandated at the table. They're not here today, so I do feel a responsibility to represent those 560,000 athletes who are not here right now, but making sure that they've got recourse if their NIL rights are violated or not upheld. But let me just say again, I would love to work, and maybe the SCORE Act is the right vehicle that we continue to tweak so that it has a path in the Senate as well. I know that there's a lack of consensus on many of the governance issues.
He hasn't even got to men and women's sports. So
we'd like to solve that with everyone here today.
Crazy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. You might want to respond to that.
Well, there's some good points made there for sure, and I think everybody has the same intention as we want to protect women's sports as well, and I got two daughters. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that. But with regard to the patchwork of state laws, as many of you probably know, the SCORE Act addresses it because it creates a national NIL standard, and then it allows the associations the authority to make rules on transfers and compensation caps and the things that are really burdening the system. And then it protects those rules from being challenged under antitrust laws. So we create an exemption there for that. So I think there are a lot of thoughts gone into how to
Trump
address
should
it there.
respond
But I mean,
himself, I know,
again,
right?
we have no pride of authorship here. We want to have the best possible product. So, I mean, the authors of the bill are open to good suggestions. So, go back.
Anybody, please?
How about you,
Yes, Steve?
Steve Wick?
Thank you, Mr. President, and I appreciate you bringing everybody together because I think we're all here because we have a passion to protect college sports, and we've recognized that with this wild, wild west mentality, it's not healthy for the future of college athletics. And
Well
so
done.
bringing structure back and really bringing the ability for the schools
I'm tired of
to
Trump being
govern
tired,
themselves
man.
again is what our intention
Yeah,
was
he's
from the
letting
very
everyone
beginning.
else
We
talk.
started this a few years ago. I remember Coach Saban came to my office and others, and we started
Tide.
listening to the people that are there at the schools
Nick Saban, he's
dealing
still
with the
there.
problem as payment of students became legal, which happened through legal arguments that, Mr. President, you talked about, some of these lawsuits that ultimately broke down the framework that Charlie Baker and others were able to use to police college athletics. That's gone now. And so how do we put that structure back? So we listened to
Today,
the schools,
nothing-
we
nothing
listened
else
to
going on after this?
different conferences, all the different conferences. We talked to a lot of student athletes. We have a number of student athletes in Congress who played different sports, who are co-sponsors of the SCORE Act and came to this from that same approach, saying, as somebody who played athletics or somebody who just has a passion. I lived in Tiger Stadium my second year at LSU. You know, in case you're wondering where my leanings are, but I care about the future
There's
of
nothing else
college
going on,
athletics. And when you see
Your
a
ROI is
student
negative, mine's
athlete,
like negative
as
probably
you talked
400.
about, Pete, on their sixth school,
Probably
and they're
losing
28
$400
years
at this
old,
point.
number one, they're not going to have any college credits to be able to graduate. And the idea of being able to get a degree for the 99% who aren't going to play professional sports is just going to be lost. And how can you reestablish that? So we started putting
need
some
a
things together.
crazy
We have the
Trump
antitrust
ramble out of
protections
nowhere
in this bill.
where he talks
We
about
protect
hockey.
women's sports in this bill. We established, Mr. President, that Title IX maintains so that however many men's sports you have to have an equal number of women's sports. Some schools have a lot of sports. Some schools can only afford a few, but whatever you have to have an equal number of women's sports, and that's protected in this bill. And obviously, the Olympic sports are protected as well. We also wanted to make sure you could put limits on the transfer portal, because that is something that a lot of people get very frustrated when they see, that you just have pure free agency. The professional sports
We'll
don't
see. I
even
could
have
bond
that.
nose,
And
but I
so
don't
you
know.
limit with,
Could just bond
again,
nose and make some
open to
back, but-
suggestions, but what everybody seemed to come to an agreement on was 5 total years of playing with 1 ability to transfer within that. And there's flexibility by the governing organization, so the NCAA can look at a case
I
by
gotta sit
case.
through
If
all these
your
fucking
father's
yappers, bro. They're
on
literally talking about nothing. They literally are solving nothing. I don't get what the point of this roundtable is. It's just people saying, "Oh my God, there's a fucking problem. Do something about it." They're not doing anything. Like I don't. They're not talking any solutions.
$100,000 or $2 million contract, you might not even know you have to pay taxes on that. And you might run into some real financial problems
They're
if
just
you're a
saying,
seven.
"Oh, the old system was bad. A lot of money." The worst part, though, is I gotta sit through fucking all of this to get to Trump speaking. This is the worst part.
We listened to schools, we listened to all the conferences, all the HBCUs support this bill, and we built a framework,
My
and we built a
college track
coalition.
team gets
We're right now
absolutely
at a
no
point where
funding
we've
because
got
there are too
more than a
many
majority
women
in
at my
Congress
school, which
supporting this
stinks.
bill,
There's too many
including,
women, that's
as
what
the
you get?
Speaker said, double-digit number of Democrats who support this bill.
It's
So it's a
all going to
bipartisan
women
coalition.
volleyball?
We
Is
absolutely
that
will
the
take
thing?
more input, but only input that grows the coalition, not detracts from the ability for student athletes to get that structure that they and the schools need. That's what the SCORE Act does. We
This
want
is
to move on it
stupid.
soon.
I'm like,
Because I think we all recognize
this is
that we
fucking
can't wait
stupid.
another
This is an
year
absolutely
and have this
pointless
wild, wild west
roundtable where they all
continue, and
jerk
it
each
will take
other
the
off.
Senate
Do
some time
something then.
to start their own
I
process.
don't know.
So I'm
I'd be happier if
expecting
he
we're going to
fucking
be
said
moving
hockey.
soon, and hopefully the next few weeks, on the SCORE Act in the House, and
Because
then
of Title IX.
keep this conversation going, keep growing this coalition to
It all
solve
goes
this
to
problem,
football and
Mr. President.
basketball.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, but we have to move it quickly, otherwise you're going to have another season that's a disaster, and it's not affordable by
Oh.
colleges. Next to you, Steve,
Disaster.
You had something to say? Thank
Did
you.
he just say,
Thank you,
like, your
President Trump.
season's gonna have
My
a
name is Jim
disaster?
Phillips.
You
I'm the
keep
commissioner of
yapping.
the
Thank you,
ACC.
Trump.
We welcome Kai
Let him know.
this fall. I'll be your commissioner, so we'll look forward to seeing you out watching her play.
Well, go.
I went on a college campus 30-some years ago and never left until I became commissioner. And I will tell you, we need your help. We need everybody's help in this room. There are 6 areas that the SCORE Act is the right piece of legislation. First, as been mentioned, there's a national law versus state legislation and patchwork. We have 37 disparate
Trump is so
laws
ready to
across
leave.
the country. So what you can do
I
in
hope
one
he- I hope
state
he
is
hits
different than
Iran
what
on
you
his
can do
way
in
out.
another state.
Like,
That just
okay, I've
doesn't
got
work
shit
when
to
you have
do. I gotta talk about Iran and the
interstate
gas,
competition,
so.
as Greg mentioned so well. The student
Iran
athletes
and
want to know
Cuba.
that they're lining up against somebody that's abiding by the same rules, NIL, rev share, and the rest. Second, it's a reaffirmation that these are student athletes. Not one of the commissioners in this room has had a student athlete come up to them and say, we would like to be an employee. They're smart enough to understand what that means. Third, limited liability protection. The lawsuits are killing us. They're absolutely crushing college sports. If you don't like a rule, you just go to the local judge, and the local judge deems you eligible. Fourth, degree completion. It's never been better to be a student athlete. You can come back to school and get a degree. You have a chance to be a pro and you leave early, we want you to come back. Fifth, medical care. The medical care is as good as I've ever seen in my 30 years.
Get through
ever.
it, buddy.
And it's
Buddy,
mental
get
health as
through
well as
it.
physical health
Trump
and
told you to
well-being.
fucking speed up.
Finally, the codification
having
of
a
the House
disaster
case, and I
Confirmed.
heard the mention of hurting women's sports. I will say in the ACC, similar to the SEC, Big 12 and Big 10, we have added 942 new
Trump's not gonna get
scholarships
to
because
talk
of the
ever,
House
bro.
case. 56% in the ACC of those scholarships have gone to women's sports. So the House case has not hurt women's sports. It is not. And the idea that we can sustain this is just
Trump is
not,
talking.
has
He's
been
getting,
expressed,
he's
it's
gotta
just
get
not
hot mic'd.
feasible. So we need
He's
your
saying
help. We
something.
thank you for taking your time and assembling this crew, and we look forward to working together.
So the concept of what we're doing with your great experience is a pretty good start. Yeah.
God damn it.
If you could pass that around, would be great. This is a summary of the SCORE Act, which I think people should see. So you like the concept of what we're doing? Very good. Yeah, it sounds it.
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you very much. Please.
Tim Pernetti, the Commissioner of the American Conference. Mr. President, thank you for putting this incredible meeting together, and more personally, thank you for your support of the Army-Navy game. Army-Navy are members of the American Conference.
Thank you.
Like a lot of people have said in this room, I had the same
Army-Navy?
experience. College football changed my life. I couldn't afford
Kickoff?
college. I got a
Are you
scholarship,
gonna get a
and it
kickoff
changed
here?
everything. And I won't reiterate
Right, what is
all the
kickoff
reasons
at?
why SCORE makes sense, because there's a lot about it that makes sense. But
10
what we have
cents?
to remind ourselves, and there's a lot of business people in the room, is we're not solving the economic crisis as part of it, because we are in a real economic crisis in college sports. Like, we have complex challenges. The mission is completely out of focus. This thing was about education through sport. That's what it was supposed to be, to what Coach Saban said. It still is that, so long as we
Coach
put it back
Saban,
in
Roll
focus.
Tide?
But we can get through SCORE, create more consistency, because the industry has a lack of consistency from eligibility all the way down the line. But we have to examine
He's
other
quite
ways to
bored right
solve
now.
the economic crisis. And these things shouldn't impede each other. And I know it is a very hot-wired topic, but looking at the opportunity for the industry to bring together valuable commercial resources in the future, such as unifying their media rights, is something that should be examined. And we're not making that decision today. If the Sports Broadcasting Act can be amended to provide college football the antitrust protection that the pro leagues have to be able to unify their media rights, that gives the industry an option, which is the important word, in the future. And that's really what the industry will need. This is an expense problem, but there are revenue paths that we haven't ventured down yet. The reality of all this is going to take bold steps. It's going to take guts. And this has become a
Look at the venture
transactional
markets Discord.
business where commitment is flying out the window, but it's not everybody. The top 1%, which is how the industry's been designed to serve the top 1%, 99 out of 100 student athletes in our league don't want to be employees,
ideas.
to what Jim Phillips said, and they signed up
Trump
for a
will turn
great
to Cuba
experience.
next.
Like, our responsibility is to make sure we reinforce the mission and create resources around them to have the experience. But that conversation, whatever side of it you're on, should be had to see if there's an option in the future to dramatically improve the economics for the
Why
industry.
does Trump have a cap
Thank you
on his
so much,
glass
Mr.
of water?
President.
I mean, a lot of frat guys
Thank
around.
you for mentioning the Army-Navy game, because as you know, I signed an executive order to protect that time slot so that during that, from like 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 6:30, I guess, we protect that space, that airspace, so nobody can play a football game, and we have the Army-Navy game protected, because the kind of money that's being thrown around, they were a little bit concerned that the Army-Navy game, as great as it is, may not do so well. I think it would actually do pretty well, but we protected the time spot anyway, so that during that little period of time, it won't have any of this competition where lots of money's being thrown around. I think it was a worthwhile protection, because it really is it is a very special time and a very special game. So thank you very much. Great job. Anybody else around?
Mr. President, could I just, before
Yes,
you're being you're given a handout that just has a quick summary bullet points of the composition of the SCORE Act for those that aren't familiar with it. And let me just apologize. I think NIL has been abused, and my staff put my name and image on the top of it really big. And it's sort of ironic and not intended. Sorry about that.
You didn't get paid for it.
I didn't get paid anything for it. Yeah, yield back.
Mike Johnson, NIJ.
Anybody else, please? Cody, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I would like to express my gratitude for your involvement and interest in all of this, and especially personally the opportunity to be involved in helping to find the solution, because college sports, as many have said, changed my life, made me a better businessman, a better husband, better father, and made me better at life in general. This is a complex issue. It's multifaceted. There are a lot of different perspectives on how it should be solved. There are a lot of different agendas that are represented in this room. And the SCORE Act is a good start. It gives us a place that we can build on. But as we move into the Senate, the political dynamics are going to change. And many of the agendas that are represented in this room and outside of this room are going to come into conflict with one another. The reality is,
I don't even know
nobody's
Cody
going
is.
to get everything that they want.
Oh, he's the board chair,
If we're
Texas
going to come to a
Tech
solution
University
on this,
system.
we have to find a place where we're all sort of equally unhappy, so to speak. That's just
I
like
would
any
like
other
Lou
business
to
deal.
speak. That would be
And
sick.
I think what's key is that we are all willing to come to
Lou?
the table and compromise and work together. Recognize that the small schools are important, the big schools are important, women's sports are important, Olympic sports are important. It's not just about big-time college football. And so that may require you twisting some arms along the way to make sure that people work together and are willing to give a little bit, and understand that this whole ecosystem of college sports belongs to all of us. It's a national treasure. It's a public trust, as I've heard Clay Travis say before, and I think it's very accurate. And so it belongs to all the American people, and all the American people should share in it. And so I would just encourage everyone here, and I think that might even be a commitment that you could ask everyone to make, is that they will work together, they will compromise, come to the table, and be constructive.
So, Cody, I know you have worked very hard on this, and frankly, you've been working on it long and hard, maybe harder than anybody else.
Long and hard.
Mentioned more than anybody.
Oh.
Could you use this as a base, and we all get together, maybe as a smaller group, and ultimately report back to the larger group and come up with something? Do you think this is a good base?
Yes, sir. I think it's certainly a good base, and it's a great starting point. Again, the dynamics will be different in the Senate, and we'll have to build on it from there. And again, a lot of these tougher issues are going to come to the surface once we get there.
Very true.
Absolutely, we should convene a smaller group that can work on those things and work on the compromises that need to be made to be able to have a bill that can get 60 votes
Adam
in the
Silverman.
Senate.
He looks like a leprechaun.
Is there any way we could go back to the old system, which I thought was fantastic, and do something with some compensation for the players and simplify things so that you'd go back to a scholarship
lizard
system
Really?
plus some compensation?
Human lizard?
More minimal, but a lot for a player. I mean, for
Say
the
hockey.
most
Come
part,
on.
they would consider it to be a lot. Whether it was $75,000 or $50,000 or
trillion?
maybe more than that. But you go back to that wonderful system that I thought we had until this judge decided to just throw everything out the window. And it's been worked at for years and years, and it was finally honed. And then all of a sudden we're sitting in this crazy neverland where colleges are losing hundreds of millions of dollars, and in many cases not even putting out competitive teams. It's incredible. Is there any way that can work? Coach, we were together, and you had some pretty strong ideas. How would you feel about that?
You know, as a coach, well, first of all, thanks for having us. And
Thank you, Coach.
I speak on behalf of so many of my former colleagues that I visit them now, and they're a mess. You know, I don't see coaches sticking around longer. You know, the coaches are getting paid very well, so they leave and enjoy their life, because what they're dealing with is the loss of a locker room. You take away team, and our country's in trouble. You know, my two girls played college volleyball, and one of the greatest interviews I've ever witnessed is she's at Georgia Tech and said, I learned so much more on the volleyball court than I ever learned in any classroom.
Can we get some fucking...
So
let's get some manly women that play hockey. Get some tomboys.
It's not simple unless we get antitrust protection, because the NCAA, when I was growing up in the profession, if you violated a rule, that was a problem. You'd lose your job. And that was made very clear.
I'm gonna go deal with
throughout litigation and other issues, the NCAA has become, they don't have subpoena power, and every time they make a decision, they get litigated. And I get it. I mean, I witness it, and as a result, and we know this from some of the policies you put in place, rules without enforcement equals chaos. You don't need new rules. We got plenty of rules. Enforce them. So if we get antitrust, then you now will not get litigated. And I would eliminate, the only thing I dislike about the SCORE Act is that, and Coach Saban and I have visited about this, Mac Brown and I have visited about this, get rid of the collectives. That's cheating. When donors, so everyone understands what a collective is, donors put money in a pot, it's distributed to players through the coach and the general manager according to your talent level. That's not allowed. Not supposed to do that. That's called pay for play. So there's a revenue share that the universities get through their television contracts, and I know it goes up every year. That's their only financial, that's the only thing they're allowed to do for their student athletes. They can distribute that however they want. That's still pay for play.
We're down $400?
Conversations, which NIL, I think we all got to quit calling it that. It's not name and likeness. These players are getting paid millions of dollars, in some of the stories I hear, and they're posting an Instagram for twice, and then they're getting paid $1.5 million. So the NIL, to me, NIL in its purest form is America. It's called capitalism. If you can make money on your name, you should have a right to do that. If you're a gymnast, a volleyball player, a swimmer, a football player, and a car dealership wants to work with you legally in the business world, do it. That's what NIL should be. That's not what it is.
Call on everyone else.
So you get rid of the collective, becomes an illegal
he gets a ramble at the end. He's pretty,
entity.
He's pretty sleepy,
There's no such thing.
For a guy who calls another man sleepy all the time,
makes my skin curl when I hear a collective. Get the donors out of it. If a business owner wants to hire Jeremiah Smith and pay him a certain amount of money, he's certainly allowed to do that. That's called capitalism. But the universities cannot arrange that and set that up. The universities can simply make sure their kids go to school, make sure they graduate, treat them fairly, make sure the women's sports, the Title IX, I'm all in favor of all that.
Yeah, his energy been getting lowered
too.
But
they cannot get involved
in the
financial
shot up the ass, man.
Marketing of your players. That's let the market take care of it.
I wish when I had yeses,
I
could just give him
that's
like
called
little 5-hour energy.
I think if the collective goes away, college sports gets better
I don't know. Hockey
when
is,
you say that.
Dude, I really hope the hockey guy wants to speak. Please, that's the only hope.
Just sitting around and having watched college sports for so long with no problems. What this incompetent judge did to this game, knowing nothing at all about sports, about anything that we're talking about today, is a disgrace.
Disgrace.
And it's going to be a very hard thing to put back together. We'll get it done. But what this person did to college sports is a disgrace. I say it. And we've seen plenty of those type of opinions. I had one recently, And it's gross incompetence, is my opinion. And
Biden?
Everybody suffers, including student athletes, including women. Women are really taking the brunt of it, as what you were saying before. It was so perfect for women. It was so great for women the way it was, and now we have to come up with a whole new scheme to satisfy people, and there are going to be some unhappy people. And it was working before. A person that knew absolutely nothing about sports made a ruling, and she turned the whole thing upside down. And it's really a disgrace. You want to know the truth? A damn disgrace. But we are where we are,
Yeah,
and
this
we'll
water
figure
cap
something
is
out.
because he doesn't drink it.
And it won't be easy, and it won't be as good, in my opinion, it won't be as good as what you had before, including for the students that were getting great scholarships. And, you know, some went on to professional sports, and most of them didn't. But they got great education. They got it for free. And they had a lot of fun going to college, and they learned a lot. And they had great coaches, many of whom are around the table. They learned more from those coaches in many cases than they learned in the classroom.
Oh,
So, yeah, I appreciate what you say. Don't forget, when these donors or collectors or whatever you want to, all different names for different people, but as that money comes in, that's also money colleges aren't going to get. You know, they're giving money to players as opposed to giving maybe to the college to keep a lot of colleges going. And that's pretty tough also. But it's just a shame, because I got involved just recently, and I looked at what's happened to colleges and to college sports. And it is colleges, because the colleges are going to go out of business, many of these colleges. When I look at what a person that's a judge was able to do to destroy colleges and college sports that was so good, no
I don't know if
problems.
he's hitting anything.
It's
Graduate, you mean?
very, very sad. And in some ways, I'd like to just go exactly back to what we had and ram it through a court if we have to, because I'm not sure you're ever going to come up with a system that's comparable to what you had. And, you know, in life, you like to get better, not worse. You like to go forward, not backward. No matter what you come up with, you've gone backward, a long way backward in many cases.
Mr. President?
Yeah, please.
Mr. President?
Hi, Ted.
Ted.
I want to thank you and
Ted
echo
Cruz.
the thanks for bringing this group together. And I want to in particular underscore the urgency that we have heard around this table. College sports is in absolute crisis. Every single week, we're seeing another program being canceled. We're seeing another women's team being canceled. We're seeing Olympic teams being canceled. And the current
You would have never had that great hockey win.
If Congress doesn't act, we are very quickly going to be in a world of 30 to 50 college football.
Yeah, Ted, you already got to talk. I don't understand.
Basically a mini NFL.
Why is he even
And
interrupting?
Division
Dude,
II
Ted,
and
you
Division
got
III
to
schools are
talk
gonna be
already.
left behind.
Man,
and
I know.
Millions of college
I know
athletes.
I already got to talk, but I got to do my own mention market on myself. My name's Mr. Cruz. I did bury those two bodies back in 1999. Isn't he the Zodiac Killer?
This is a bipartisan issue.
I'm just a
and we
little
have
tilted
bipartisan
because my
consensus.
bets are cooked.
I agree it should
Little
be a
tilted.
bipartisan issue. But it's worth speaking realistically. The challenge is simple. You asked about the SCORE
Yeah,
Act.
no,
I
he's
think the
finally
SCORE Act
Trump's
has many good
finally on a
elements. I think
roll,
it's-
and all of a
it-
sudden
it
the
is a
Zodiac
very
Killer
good
has to
first
prove
step.
he didn't do it.
But the challenge is for this to be passed into law and put on your desk, we need 60
This
votes
is
in the
kind of his
Senate,
moment, though, a
which
little
means we need at least 7
It's
Senate
random
Democrats.
as hell, though. I mean, like, what is Ted Cruz? All right, I like some of the Ted Cruz photos. What the hell he know about college football? Like, deadass. What? It's a Lady Gaga moment. Why is he there?
Been to use a football analogy at the 2-yard line.
Are we getting
But
kickoff
not
here?
able to push, and there are interest groups on the left, in particular trial lawyers and unions, that have resulted in Democrat senators that are actively lobbying against the SCORE Act and don't want to see legislation passed. And so my hope, there are a lot of people around this table who care desperately about college sports. My hope is that you speak out to Democrat senators and urge them, let's come together and solve this together. And I think
There
the
should be.
solution,
It's
part of
kinda
the solution
racist,
needs to
actually,
be
that
on the
there's
cost
no
side.
hockey teams in
And I think part of the
Texas. Kinda
solution should be
racist.
discussing and looking at the
Think about
revenue
it.
side. I think both of those are important parts of a solution.
Kevin from The Office.
There are a
if
number
he
of
did,
Senate
like,
Democrats who care about
if he
this
painted
but have
over
not
his-
quite gotten to the
his
point
hair.
of getting to
Isn't
yes.
Kevin
That's the
bald?
single biggest
Like,
challenge. And I
if
think
you
the
put a little
collective
toupee on,
voices around
I
this
could see it.
table adding to the urgency that if we wait another year, if we wait another 2 years, the programs in your state are going away and the students in your state are losing their scholarships, and it would be an absolute travesty if we let that happen.
Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you, and I want to underscore that sense of urgency.
You know what's so funny? Trump didn't even thank him for speaking. He's like, you interrupted me.
If we're here a year from now,
Year
we're
from
in a
now?
much worse place. If we're here 2 years
Dead
from now,
country?
college sports looks entirely different, and it would be a disaster. So I do think that growing sense of urgency is important. I appreciate you convening this. You have unique
Yeah,
credibility
talk about
on this,
nothing.
not just being president, but we've spent time at the
Just the
Super Bowl,
glaze.
watching the Super Bowl, playing golf. You love sports. You have credibility on it. You care about it, and I think that authenticity
you interrupt
matters
him, man?
for the leadership that we need. I do think that if we're serious about this, the antitrust exemption matters for the governance side, but I think the revenue side is inextricably linked to the success of this. If you are losing money on a football, and I'm from Missouri, we love, we're in the SEC. If you're losing money on your football program, you're not going to be able to subsidize the women's sports and the Olympic sports. So I do think that we
that
can
Laura
come together.
Ingraham?
I am hopeful and optimistic by the people
Is that
who
Laura
are represented
Ingraham?
in this room and as we move forward that we can find a solution. We have
Is that
to.
her?
This is not just because we
definitely-
like
that's
watching
100%
sports
Laura
on TV
Ingraham.
why this is important. There are lives that can be changed forever if
Is
we
that
do the
a
right
market?
thing.
Visit
And
White
I think
House?
you've got the right people in the room, and I think you're the right guy to lead this effort, and we're here to support those efforts in the Senate.
Could I ask Charlie Baker? Charlie, do you think we could come back to a solution or get a solution that
No.
was as good as what we had before, or almost as good as what we had before, or maybe better? I don't think better, but maybe. Would you say that's
Her face
possible,
looked
Charlie?
frozen.
You're in the position to be
Pretty
able
funny.
to tell maybe better than anybody else.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the question because it's at the end of the day the one we all care about the most, which is can we create a system going forward that's better than the one we have now? And I think the focus people, the thing about the SCORE Act that everybody needs to remember here is it's a comprehensive piece of legislation that deals with a whole series of things that I think everybody would agree are a problem. The discussion, the place where the discussion gets a little more complicated is the issue about the cost and the revenue side and
All right, boys.
the
This is what happens. This
implications
is what you
of
do.
those two issues. And if I were to say to
When it
this
gets
group,
boring.
where's the place to go, it would probably be there. And
Trump's
do I
speech
think if
getting
you
a
could
little
get that
too
resolved,
boring.
you could create something that most people would view as better than what
let's
we
do
had
100.
before? I think you'd certainly be heading in that direction. The big thing we all have to remember here is that
$100?
the way it was before, and I'm
56 share?
I'm almost 70, so I remember
Let's go.
those days.
Come on, Bitcoin.
quite
Come on,
well.
Bitcoin.
Sports and media played a completely different role in our society than the one they play now, and the money piece in particular is got to be part of the conversation, and that's got to involve the student athletes. And your point, Mr. President, about coming up with a more structured way of dealing with that, I think is a good one. But that's got to be part of the dialogue for the same reason that the revenue piece has to be part of the dialogue as well.
So much money was paid
Please, Trump.
to students in the form of scholarships. What was the exact number that you said, Charlie,
Trillion?
before?
4.1 billion last year.
4.1 billion was paid to the students in the form of scholarships, and everybody was happy. Everybody was happy. And now you got yourself
Marco
a mess.
Rubio was on his phone.
And I think you should just go back to where you have and let
We
some
get it.
judge
We get
tell
it,
you
Trump.
you can't do it. And you appeal it up and you win at some point, because I think what you had was a great system, $4.1 billion. Everybody was happy. Now you have a thing that you're never going to, you have a jigsaw puzzle that's not going to be
Jigsaw.
put back together. And colleges are going to go out of business. And I think you go back and the players that got the $12 million, a 17-year-old quarterback that got $12 million,
Quarterback?
one got $14 million. I hear they're negotiating one at $18 million, who's They don't know if he's got an accurate arm, but he's got a strong arm, coach. Accuracy counts too. They have no idea. They're going to give him $18 million. And you know what? Those guys that already signed contracts, you know what? Call that the lotto. They hit the jackpot. Let them have their money. You can't do anything about it.
Jackpot, please.
But
Trump,
I'd like to
say
see,
it.
and I
Roll
tell
Tide.
you, I just don't think it's right that a judge is allowed, that knows nothing, is allowed to destroy college sports and colleges.
It will be sued again.
And I'd like to see you go back to where you were, enhance
Probably.
it a little bit
I
through
don't know.
some
I don't get the point of the round table,
compensation,
what this accomplishes.
and let them take you to court,
it's
because no
nothing.
matter what you do, you're going to be sued. You can do 100, you could give everybody everything, and you're going to end up back in court, and you'll
Trump said the
probably
same
have a
thing you used
judge
to-
that doesn't know a damn thing. And it's a mess.
It's a mess.
And I don't know whether or not that decision was appealed. Was that decision ever appealed? Does anyone know? Because I heard it was not appealed.
I believe the House settlement is being litigated now because it violates.
No, but was
Title
it appealed, the decision?
The House settlement, I think.
The
is-
original decision by the judge from California, was that appealed?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, the answer is
Yeah,
no.
it
It
was
was
wrong.
settled because it was, I think, the third
Why didn't
case.
somebody appeal it?
The prior case, which is Alston versus the NCAA, was appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court found 9-0 against the college position to defend the old system. So that's, I think the answer is the antitrust piece is the inherent problem in trying to create caps and limits. That's it.
So the Supreme Court was responsible for this?
I'm not
Gee,
the
that
one who's
surprises
gonna, I'm
me.
not the one who's going to say that. I'm not bold enough to say
Wow.
that, but
What
I'll at
a-
least acknowledge
what
it.
a-
9-0. 9-0 with
Was the
Kavanaugh
Supreme Court
supporting.
responsible for this?
Tariff
9-0 and
possibly?
Kavanaugh supported.
Kavanaugh?
It's a shame. It's a shame. Yes,
Saw
sir.
what they did with
please.
tariffs.
Mr. President, thank you
Ah,
for
you didn't
bringing
say
this
it.
esteemed group together. I have a bit of a unique perspective because for most of my career I was in professional sports. I became the commissioner 3.5 years ago. I found a system
This is so
that
long,
quickly
lads.
was defined by unlimited free agency and no
So
salary
long.
cap, in complete chaos. I am, and representing the Big 12, we are very much in favor of the SCORE Act. I like to say it's progress over perfection.
Touchdown.
And
Send
it
the White House.
provides, no different than what Commissioner Phillips said, the core principles of what we need to move this thing forward. One thing that we didn't discuss so far today was athlete protection acts, which is obviously connected to SCORE. And there's a component there about
Bullish on Iran. They posted football clips of catches and sacks. Meanwhile, Iran bombings. Maybe is that bullish on Iran?
the air, the
Maybe.
NFL, it's a 3 to 4, maybe 5% commission. In some cases, they're charging over 20. We talked about the portal. Most agents are pushing our student athletes into the portal, and the recent numbers show that over 40% don't even find a home once they get into the portal. And because they're being pushed into the portal, and Mr. Sankey said it earlier, they're losing credits towards their degrees.
Thunder.
So we have a problem on our hands, obviously.
Thunder.
And I don't believe in perfection. I do believe in progress. And I think the SCORE Act is a great first step for us to move forward. And on behalf of the Big 12 Conference, we are all in favor of it, and we'd like to see a sense of urgency. We need something done soon. Because if not, you know, our university is going to suffer, our student athletes will suffer, and we need help. So we appreciate you bringing
Well,
us
it's an
together
honor
today.
to do it. I just hate to see what you're going through. I hate to see what's happening to our country, essentially, because this
Come
is
on,
our
Trump.
country. This is the youth of our country, and it's a terrible thing that's happening because, you know, these crazy payments that are being made colleges are not going to be able to help themselves. Just like the NFL owners would not be able to help
NFL?
themselves if they didn't have a cap. But you have a much bigger problem than a
Kickoff?
cap. And you have a complexity problem. And you have a problem where women are being thrown out of sports like at levels never seen before. And you're going to have other things that come up that nobody's even thinking about right now. And you're not going to be able to solve these problems. you're just not going to be able to solve these problems. You know, Ted said something before that the Democrats, I think Eric was alluding to it.
With the Democrats.
But you have a lot of Democrats in the Senate that I hear are opposed to almost anything. So if you do, and I have to deal with these people all the time, okay?
Good luck, brother.
You saw them the other night. They wouldn't stand up for a soldier that was a great hero and got the Congressional
How about the
Medal of
hockey
Honor.
team?
They sat there.
Come
They
on.
wouldn't stand up. They wouldn't even smile. They wouldn't
Remember
clap.
that, Trump? Do you remember the hockey team?
For a woman that lost her daughter whose throat was slashed, they wouldn't stand up. They sat and they didn't
TDS?
stand up. They didn't do anything.
They've got TDS.
And we have to deal with these people. But, Ted, you said that there are 7 Democrats that will not vote yes. Eric, you know the situation better than almost anybody in the room, except maybe me. I have to deal with it even more than you. But, you know, if you've got all these hardline Democrats that want to see everything fail, it's a problem. You know for a fact these people would vote no?
What we need at least
going on a
7
rant
who will
on
get to yes,
Democrats,
because that's how we get
please.
to 60.
Right.
Right now, the SCORE Act has 0.
Yeah.
So I'm glad
Well,
the
I'm
House
not
is moving
surprised.
it, and they've got some Democrats in the House. That's beneficial, and I think when the House passes it,
Come on, another
that
Trump
momentum is helpful. And there are a number of Senate Democrats.
Fucking
I mean, I
Ted
spent
Cruz
literally
is another
thousands of
interruption, man.
hours negotiating with my Democrat colleagues, and there are a number who want to
Ted
address it.
Cruz, shut up.
But it is their political leadership that is telling them to stop. And so what has got to happen is the folks in each of the states need to say to your elected Democrats, if you don't act, we're going to lose what is so extraordinary about college sports. And it needs to
You've
be
already
something that is in the
lost
middle
it.
that's a compromise.
Ted, you've already lost it. You've already lost it.
You've already lost it, Ted.
Colleges are losing $400-500 million, and they haven't even started yet. So you've already lost it in the true sense, and you've lost something else. It's like it's ugly what's happened to sports in college. Before it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing, and now it's very ugly. It's become very ugly.
I don't mind him telling
And I
Ted
think
to
you're
shut
right.
up.
You're going to have people that will never vote for anything, no matter what you agree. You could agree to everything that's perfect,
Transgender?
and they will never vote. And I'm not doing this I'm doing this as a practical person. No matter what you agree to, you have people in the Senate and in the even
Say
if it's
Trump
good for our
derangement
country,
syndrome is-
even if it's great for the player, great for the college, and great for our country, and they will still vote no because they're cuckoo. They've got problems. Maybe it's problems at home, Cody, but they have problems. So that gives us problems. And I think what I'm going to
dodged it
do
right there.
is I'm going to sit down with some of the people in this room,
He dodged
like
TDS right there.
Urban, like Coach,
Saban?
a very fine coach, Nick, who won a lot. He won a lot.
Roll
How
Tide.
many, 6 national championships? You could have done better. You had a couple of games.
6 or
Did
7.
you win 7? What are you, 6?
7.
7.
6, 7!
All right, so I think he qualifies. right?
Yes.
But
That technically
I'd like
counts,
to
right?
sit down with some of the very talented people in this room, and we'll pick them out. If you'd like to volunteer. And I'd like to sign an executive order that I'll write myself based on common sense, and it'll be something that people will be sort of happy about. Some will be sort of happy, others will be sort of happy, and maybe that's a good thing. There'll be a few people that won't like anything, but I'd like to write an executive order based on some of the very great talent in this room, and we will be sued, and we'll go before a court.
We will
and
be
maybe we'll have a judge that's realistic, reasonable, and wants to do a favor for the country, because that's the only way this is going to be solved. So I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to write an executive order based on many of the statements made today, many of the statements I've been hearing over the last year about what a disaster this is for colleges, for the players, for the
GGs.
families, ruining families,
GGs,
ruining
Lee.
everything. And we're going
Next
to do a
live stream?
very
Probably tomorrow.
well thought out executive order. A lot of you are going to be involved in that. All of you, anybody that would like to, just let me know.
Let me know.
And
the hockey guy? Come on.
That'll be placed before the courts, and hopefully a judge who's a real judge, a compassionate judge, and a judge with common sense will get it approved. And maybe it won't, and maybe it won't hold up. Maybe they'll say you can't do an executive order, in which case you say, welcome to the court system of this country, which has gone totally out of control. Totally out of control. And maybe not. But that's the only way you're going to get this done. So I'm going to write an executive order, and the executive order is going to be based on great common sense, and it's going to let colleges survive and players survive and let a lot of people be very, very happy. And let's see if we can get it through the court system, which we might not be able to do. In which case, I guess we'll have to meet again.
We are wrapping.
And we'll probably be through the same system. Look, if this doesn't work, colleges are going to be destroyed. Women's sports are going to be destroyed first before anything, before anybody, before anything. Women's sports are already being cut in every college. The first thing they're cutting, which is very unfair, is women's sports. And then they're cutting lesser sports. Sports that are very good sports, great sports, are being cut. And you're going to be left with football, and the football is going to lose so much money that the colleges are all going to go bankrupt, all because of a bad number of decisions made by courts, including, I guess, the Supreme Court. If you say it was a bad decision in the Supreme Court. I think the Supreme Court ought to be ashamed of itself for a lot of reasons, okay? A lot of reasons. I got to live with these people, and I say this, and they'll only vote bad, and I couldn't care less at this point. They have hurt this country so badly.
At the tariffs?
Because they haven't had the guts to do what's right. So, and I can tell you about other things too, not just this. So we're going to do an executive order, and I think it's going to be an executive order that the people in this room and the students and the colleges will be proud of. Whether or not it holds up in court, I can't tell you that. But you're not going to get it through the Senate, and you're probably not going to get anything through the House because you have a bunch of lunatics that you have to deal with, Mike, and better you than me. Go ahead.
Well, I applaud the effort for an executive order, and I think everybody around the table is grateful for that. Might I suggest, Mr. President, that while you're using the Article 2 authority, that we still work in the lane of Article 1. The playbook has to be wider than that, I think. And so what I would suggest, and humbly before everyone here, is that we take, I think almost everyone around the table we've heard today believes that at least the SCORE Act is a base to work from. Can we still continue to try to work through that? We do have some Democrat support, and as was said, we've got some fine points to get to.
Would love to work with you on it.
Okay, and what I think is, and what I was hopeful for, is that the leaders around this table, representing such a broad array of interests and groups around the country and both parties, that the collective influence of I hate the word collective, Coach Meyer, I'm sorry, I keep saying but the influence of all the people around this table could help us get some of those critical, Democrat votes in the Senate. And I don't think we should or could abandon that effort. We try it. I'm an optimist.
I think you go both ways.
Yes.
Let me do an executive order. You go ahead and play games with these people.
Okay.
Okay?
We'll give it the quarterback effort.
Give it a shot. Okay. And maybe the fact that we do the one helps you get the votes in the other. Okay? Right. Does that sound okay, Randy?
Yeah, I think so. And I think at the end of the day, Mr. President,
they're saying this one should be bipartisan, is what he's saying, but I don't think that's going to get it passed. Bro, this guy's mic is off, dude. This is a disaster.
And I agree, the SCORE Act is a start, but with your leadership, I really do believe we can move the ball. I have ideas. Brilliant people here have ideas where we can add on it. And based on my conversations with Democrats, I think they want to do this. I think the Congresswoman said that, and I think that there's a way to do this. And your executive order, again, showing leadership, stepping out, is good, but I think we go on both
Don't
paths.
forget, the executive order can then be put before Congress, and Congress can vote on it, change it a little bit, vote on it. But I'm looking to do it straight and let Congress go a different path. And, you may get a judge that understands what's happening, and you may get some very good opinions coming out of a very smart judge who will be beloved all over our country, as opposed to hated and disrespected. So that's it. So, Randy, could I ask you to do the following? either a sampling of their, or get everybody in some form, come up with a proposal, play with the SCORE Act or do something different than the SCORE Act, but maybe you use the SCORE Act as a base. I separately will get some of the people in this room, and we're going to do a really good executive order. And maybe Jim will put that executive order in front of the Senate and the House. And who knows, maybe we get a vote, and maybe we don't. But I'm talking about not even going before the Senate and the House, just having an executive order where we'll be sued, and we'll go before the courts, and here we go again. But I think at the same time, you go down a separate track. Is that all right? Okay? Is that okay? Good. Other than that, we've had a great time.
Can I?
The press will take one or two questions.
One or
please.
two. Iran question, Iran.
That's an easy problem compared to what we're doing here. I mean, but can I be
taking
honest?
questions?
It's just,
this is insane.
I have a lot of respect for you. You've always been very nice to me. What a stupid question that is to be asking at this time.
Stupid
We're talking
question.
about something else. Can we keep this maybe a little bit? Go ahead, please.
Not Iran related?
Eligibility, as you know, my son, Joe, is a high-level D1 athlete, third-year relief pitcher, University of Maryland.
How would I know that? He said, as you know, I didn't even know who the guy is. That's all right.
Graduate, maybe?
The eligibility thing
As you know.
is a disaster in the NCAA. You have...
What is Trump saying? He's leaning over. He's saying something. Oh, they turned off his mic.
Division, the second division, D2, is passing a blanket 5-year eligibility without medical.
Wow, Iran Bond didn't know.
Just a 5-year eligibility.
Dang it, dude, we almost got it there.
D1 with the commissioners in this room right now. Why don't we solve that?
Okay. Thank you very much. I'd like to know the same thing.
Did we say
You know why you're
questions?
not going to solve it? Because
Did the guy ask a
we've had
question?
some very, very bad, incompetent decisions. Things that were routine before, that were solved long before. Now you're into a brand new system. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mr. President. Thank you. Could you tell us what went into your decision to replace Secretary Noem with Senator Mark Wayne Mullin?
No.
Is it possible to stay on this subject just for once? You know, just for once.
Fuck.
Boy, oh boy.
He's trying.
Anybody have any questions on this subject?
On this subject?
What is your timeline for either the executive order that you just mentioned or the legislation that the members
I
of
will
Congress
have an
mentioned?
executive order within 1 week.
Well,
and
would
it'll
it
be
take
very,
effect before
it'll
the
be
fall
very
semester for college?
Someone asked about hockey,
all-encompassing.
the hockey team.
And we're going to put it forward, and we're going to get sued, and we're going to see how it does, okay? But I'll have an executive order which will solve every problem in this room, every
problem.
conceivable problem,
Every problem.
within 1 week. And we'll put it forward. We will get sued. That's the only thing I know for sure in life. And we'll see how we do in the court system.
Would it take effect, sir?
But the
before
courts have destroyed. The courts.
Yes, sir.
Think about it.
Yes, sir.
The courts, a bad court system has destroyed college sports and colleges in this country and a lot of lives.
Mr. President,
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, how will your executive order be different from the one that you released in July?
You mean than the SCORE Act? Well, it'd be a lot different because I don't necessarily agree with the SCORE Act. I don't know it as well as some people in this room, but I disagree with some of the things in the SCORE Act.
No, the executive order you released in July, how will this one that you're writing this week be different?
It'll be more comprehensive. That was put out as a test, as a feeler. This will be much more comprehensive because we've all learned a lot in the last pretty long period of time, 6 months or so period of time. I think we could do a very good document. I think we could do a document that works from a common sense standpoint. Whether or not it's going to hold up in court, who knows? Honestly, it will depend on the judge. Maybe we'll get a wise judge. There are wise judges too. We got some very brilliant, wise judges. Maybe we'll get lucky.
Why aren't there any student athletes in the room?
Good question.
Do you want to answer that question? Randy?
Passing off questions.
We've made it clear, and I thought I said it before, that we have agents here. There are a lot of student-athlete groups. There's a limited room here, and after this meeting, we intend to talk to all of the interested student-athlete groups to get their input, because this can't be done without them. But at the end of the day, we had to kick this off and start
Kick it off!
This is the beginning. This isn't the end. I've talked to a lot of people who represent student-athletes, and there are certain interest
Trump
groups that
didn't
I'm sure
have
would have liked
an
to be
answer.
here, but they'll have their opportunity.
They're very well represented. You know why? Because people like Nick Saban and Urban Meyer,
Well done.
some of the people, all the people that I know in the room, and the people probably that I don't know, they all care very much about the student athlete, more so than they care about themselves. So I think they're really here in that sense. They're represented very well. Peter, I'll give you one more chance because that was a bad question you asked before. Go ahead.
We've already got a lot of
I
sound
don't want to
bites
leave him in the
about the
lurch like
sports. Can I ask one off topic?
that. On topic,
On topic. Okay.
which is unusual for you. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. What is motivating you to do this right now? Because there is
Hockey?
a lot of other stuff going
Hockey
on in
team?
the world.
Right, that's right. There's a lot. We're doing by the way, in Iran, we're doing very
Iran!
well.
Wow.
Somebody said, how would you
What the
score
hell?
it from 0 to 10? I said, I'd give it a 12 to a 15.
Iran hit. What the hell?
Their army is gone. They're just about, look,
He
their
said
Navy
on
is gone.
topic question only and then
Their
just started yapping
communications
anyways.
are gone. Their leaders are gone. 2 sets of their leaders are gone. They're down to their 3rd set. Their Air Force is wiped out entirely.
Dude, this is insane.
Think of it. They have 32 ships. All 32 are at the bottom of the ocean. Other than that, they're doing very well, Coach. Very well. We're doing, our military is doing phenomenally. That's
Oil,
the
gas.
big thing for this week.
Come
We
on.
seem to have a new thing every week. But the situation with a very bad and very sick group of leaders who were killing a lot of people. A lot of our people were being killed. They were being maimed. They were being destroyed with their bombs all over the place, planted in roads, and we call them the roadside bombs, walking around without legs, without arms, face blasted, killed many, many people. And we had a choice. We could take it and go on like that for years or do something about it, and we did something about it, and people are very impressed with our military, and they admire our
This is
military
crazy.
with
He's
what
now
happened
answered this
in
question.
Venezuela and what's happening
Oh,
now, what's
gas.
happened with the B-2 bombers before this, where they took out the nuclear capability or potential of Iran. I think
Oil? Gas prices?
I think right now we're a country that's more respected than
Hottest.
we've ever been
Oh my God.
respected before. I saw what was happening with college sports, and it doesn't sound very important compared to what's happening in Iran and other places, but it is very
Iran.
important to me.
Wow.
And if I can get it done, I'll get it done. Through a bad system, it's a bad system. Through a bad legal system, you want to know the truth.
Oh,
We
dear.
have a situation that is almost unsolvable, and we'll see if we can solve it. And, Peter, the fact is we're talking about colleges that are going to go out of business by many, many colleges are going to
good
be out
talk.
of business. This isn't just about student athletes. This is about our whole educational system
Okay.
is going to go out of business because of this. So I understand what you're saying in terms of the level of importance, but to me, this is very important. Very, very important. Thank you. Okay, thank you all very
right.
much.
That's
Thank
the
you.
wrap up.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Wow, so Iran hit at the end. Iran hit at the very end. Wow. But that was it. That's an L. That's an L. He didn't hit hockey. We lost about $200. We made some back on that Iran buzzer beater, but Hail Mary, yeah. I mean, that was crazy. He asked for on-topic questions and then answered it anyways. That was wild. Well, fucking L mention market, man, because we missed on hockey. He didn't mention hockey at all, so, well, GG's. GG's. This is our performance. Roll Tide. Well, GG's lads lost fucking $200. Is what it is. We'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow for the next one. We'll make it back. All right. GG's lads. Sorry we had to sit through that horrendous, boring ass fucking football conference where nothing got done anyways. Absolutely zero solutions were talked about. Kind of a waste of time.